You are listening to the Navigating Adult ADHD podcast, where it's all about education, support, and coaching for adults with ADHD. I'm your host, Zena, a late diagnosed ADHDer, here to help you unpack the challenges, frustrations, and the positive side of living with ADHD. With my no BS approach, I'll help you to better understand your unique ADHD brain and how you can work with it to feel better, increase your self-confidence, improve your relationships, and ultimately achieve your goals. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Navigating Adult ADHD. I gotta tell you, I've been having a time of it with this podcast episode, just going back and forward with my ideas. I have so much I want to say and so much that happens in client sessions and so much of my own work that I want to share with you all. And I feel like I could have talked about this topic for hours. So yeah, been staring at my screen for a while. And I decided, okay, let's go. Let's hit record and let's just share with you all the things that I have here. Okay? So that's what we're doing. I have got my furry friend Rocky with me today. He's one of my cats. And if you hear some funny noises, it's probably just him licking himself or moving around as he hangs out. Now, if you're listening to this the day it comes out, it is due to be released on May 28th. I want you to know something. Today is my birthday. So I'm recording this a couple of weeks in advance because I'm going to take that day off. But I'm so happy that you guys will be listening to this on my birthday. It just makes me so happy. Now, I had to ask my partner how old I am because I keep saying I'm 36 and I've been saying that for years. But no, it turns out I'm about to be 38. So when you listen to this, I'll be 38. And if you listen to it years in advance, I'll be older. One of the things I've been thinking about knowing that my birthday is coming is I know 38 is going to be an amazing year. Also, I'm really proud of what I've accomplished in the last 12 months. So sharing this podcast with you every single week, that is one of the things I'm really proud of. But I also wanted to acknowledge that it hasn't always been that way. I vividly recall one birthday where I was in Bali and I was staying in this ridiculously expensive hotel that I had really wanted to stay in with a minimum 2-night stay. So I was staying somewhere else for the majority of my time, but for 2 nights I booked into this place and I had this gorgeous big deck with a view over the pool and it was stunning. And I remember sitting there and saying to myself, like, what the hell have I got to show for this past year? Today's my birthday. What the heck have I got to show for it? And at that point in my life, I had barely achieved any of the things that I'd wanted to. I kept kind of setting the same goals over and over, and it felt really painful. And I share that with you because it relates definitely to today's episode, but also because that's something that I hear from other adults with ADHD all the time, is that, it's my birthday and that kind of feeling bad. What have I got to show for it? Now, before we dive in to today's episode about beating yourself up, which I have plenty to say about, because it's my birthday, I do have a small request from you all. If and only if you would like to share a little bit of birthday love, I would be so grateful if you would leave us a podcast review. And if you've got a friend or somebody you know who has ADHD, I would be so incredibly grateful if you would share this podcast with them. It literally means the world to me when you take the time to leave a review and, help other adults with ADHD to find us and get support. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate you guys so much. Now, I forgot to do this in the last episode I recorded, so I'm just going to share with you some words that a client recently shared with me, which is talking about her experience of coaching and also this podcast. And I've picked this one specifically, again, because it really does link back to our topic today. So this is what Marika had to say. I used to feel really trapped in my own head, but talking to Zena each week and listening to the podcast gave me so much hope. It's so nice to be able to share my thoughts with somebody who understands what I'm thinking more than I do myself. Today, I feel so much more in control. I've learned how to accept myself without constantly fighting my brain. And as a result, I've got so much more energy. Oh, can you relate? Like, when I think about just how exhausting it is when your brain is going a million miles an hour and you're kind of fighting with yourself, there's often a lot of shoulds. I should have done more. I should have done that. Why didn't I do this? Blah, blah, blah. I can for sure relate to that. All right. And that was my everyday experience before I found coaching. And it was so exhausting. So thank you, Marika, for sharing that with us, because that is such a great segue into today's topic. Because if there was a medal, if they held an Olympics for beating yourself up, I think many adults with ADHD would have a really good chance at winning. At one point in my life, I think I would have taken out gold. I really do. I couldn't look at myself in a mirror because I was so mean to myself. I was so hard on myself, horrible to myself, full of self-loathing. And as you guys know, right, I work day in and day out with adults who've got ADHD. So I'm chatting with other adults who have ADHD all day. It is such a privilege. And here's one of the things I've observed. As adults with ADHD, we can be so hard on ourselves, okay? It's a universal thing that I see. Now, somewhere along the way, we developed this idea in our brain that in order to be better, in order to do better, we need to beat ourselves up, okay? I know, that's what I used to think. I used to think, like, I have to be hard on myself, otherwise I'm not going to change, otherwise I'm not going to, do something different. How's that working out? Honestly, like, if that's what you're doing, if you're being really hard on yourself, if you're being pretty mean up in there, up in your brain, are you improving your life by hating yourself? Are you creating positive results? Is it working? Speaking from experience, I can confidently say that beating myself up did not make me achieve my goals. It did not make me happy. It didn't change my habits or magically make me a better person. You can't hate your way to happiness. Trust me, I tried. Hate creates more hate. And beating ourselves up is effectively punching ourselves in the face. Okay? That's what we're doing. We're punching ourselves in the face. It hurts. Okay? It's not creating a positive result. Now, of course, we were not born into the world beating ourselves up. This is something that we started to develop from childhood, from a young age. Maybe you had a teacher at school say to you, if you can't do that, then I'm not sure how you're going to get anywhere in life. And you made that mean that you were stupid. Or every time you left something at school, say you left your lunchbox at school, you might have had your parents say to you, if you bothered to care more, you wouldn't be leaving things behind all the time. And you started to think, oh, I'm a bad person. Or perhaps you had a boyfriend say to you, you're a mess. You need to get your shit together if we're ever going to have a future. And you made it mean that there was something wrong with you. We have taken the words from everybody around us growing up, all of those messages, all of those things that we were told, and we've internalized them. Right? They've become the voice in our head. And at some stage, right, we started to say to ourselves, you're not good enough. You should be doing more. You're useless. You suck. That was pathetic. You don't have what it takes. And so on. Now, as we know, there has been research done on children with ADHD that shows a child with ADHD has had 20,000 more negative messages than their peers by age 10. We take age 10 and we compound it, right, to the age you are when you get diagnosed. Ouch. We have had so many criticisms and so many negative messages, and we've made it mean all of these awful, horrible and incredibly painful things about ourselves. Here are some of the common things that I hear from clients. I should be further along. I don't want people to think I'm lazy. I feel bad that you have to put up with me. I should be doing more. I should be more normal. I feel like a loser. I'm the problem. I should be able to do what normal people do. I should have ignored them. I shouldn't have reacted. I'm a hypocrite. We are shaming ourselves for our differences and our difficulties. Right? When we're saying these things to ourselves, we're shaming ourselves for having ADHD, which, by the way, we did not ask for, okay? We didn't ask for ADHD. We were born with it. Our ADHD was not a choice, all right? But how we treat ourselves is a choice. I just want you guys to know, I am feeling so emotional right now. I'm like on the verge of tears and struggling to regulate my emotions as I go through this, because I want you all to know that I get really upset about this, about how we treat ourselves, how I hear from people every single day, and these are the things that they're saying about themselves. And I've been there, right? And I just want you to know how much love I have for you, how much I get it, how much I know it hurts. And I just want you to know that I'm with you, okay? I've been there, I have lived there, and sometimes my brain still goes over there. But none of these things are who you are, okay? And I really hope that by the end of this episode, you will have a different outlook on yourself and on the way that you speak to and treat yourself. All right? Because all of these painful words and these mean judgments that you're hurling at yourself, I'll bet that you would never say them to your best friend, to your kids, to me, to virtually anyone, right? So we're going to clear some shit up today, okay? All right. Firstly, we have developed this belief that we must be hard on ourselves in order to create change, okay? Also, we think that we need to change all of these things about ourselves, right? We need to become somebody who is not messy, right? We need to become somebody who's always on time, right? Who never forgets their friend's birthday. We think we need to do all of these things and then we'll feel better, right? We think we need to change and then we'll feel better about ourselves, okay? That's not true. I hear you, some of you saying, what? Right, we've got that backwards. I'm going to share something with you all in a minute, but I hear some of you saying, yeah, but if I don't beat myself up, then surely I'm just going to stop trying. I'm not going to improve myself. I'm just going to, quit, give up, and feel like crap forever. No, my friend. Not at all. In fact, I'm going to share a story with you. I want you to imagine that a kid comes to you and wants to learn to ride a bike, and they ask you to help them with that. So if you've got a child, this is one of your kids. If you've got nieces, nephews, pick somebody with a cute little kid, okay? That kid comes to you and says, hey, I want to learn how to ride a bike without training wheels, okay? Now, there are two scenarios here. In the first scenario, you're super excited about that, right? And you say to the kid, great, this is awesome. I really want to help you to do that. And I think you're going to be so good at it. We're going to have so much fun. So you go to a big parking lot and you stay next to them and you're really encouraging, and you probably hold the edge of the bike seat as they start pedaling off. And they might, kind of wobble a little bit, and you keep reassuring them. And then when they feel confident that you can let go, you let go and off they go. And every time they fall over, right, because it's inevitable, they're going to fall over, you say, yay, I'm so impressed. You're getting further and further. You're doing really well. Keep going, right? And they start to build their confidence. They keep trying. And even though, it takes a little while to get to the point where they can ride without the training wheels, you keep cheering them on. Maybe it takes a couple days. Maybe it takes a couple weeks, couple months. Doesn't matter, right? But every night you are out there in the parking lot with this kid, helping them to learn to ride the bike without the training wheels. Now, scenario 2. Same kid comes to you and says, hey, can you help me to ride this bike without training wheels? And you laugh at them like, really, you? Like, what makes you think that you're going to be able to ride a bike without training wheels? You're kind of useless. This is going to be a total disaster. I don't think you've got what it takes. So you go along to a parking lot and you've got your arms crossed and your head tilted back and you're like, oh God, like, come on, hurry up, let's go, get on with it. This is a waste of my time. And every time they fall off the bike, you laugh at them, right? You stare at them, you shake your head. And then maybe you give them a whack on the back of the head and say, come on, why is it taking so long? This is so painful. Hurry up. I told you just don't have what it takes. This is a waste of my time. So I want you to think, okay? We got two scenarios. Which scenario, right? Which kid would learn to ride the bike faster? And which one would enjoy riding the bike for the rest of their lives? Right? The answer's pretty obvious, right? It's the first one. And yet most of us apply method number 2 to ourselves, right? We speak like that to ourselves. It doesn't work, right? It doesn't create a positive outcome. The solution, my friend here, the solution is to feel better, then do better, okay? When you think that you need to do better so that you can feel better, you got it backwards. Okay? It doesn't work this way. It's not how the world works. It's not how our brains work. You need to feel better and then you do better. Remember, what we think determines how we feel. Okay? And our feelings drive all of our actions. Okay? So when I used to think that I should have got more done today, it was like a common thought I had. God, I should have got more done today. And then I felt bad because I didn't, right? When I felt bad, I would often binge watch Netflix, drink wine to take the edge off, and eat a block of chocolate to make me feel better, which ultimately ended up with me feeling worse because I was sabotaging my goals and it was bad. The reality is when we feel badly, we take action that produces a negative result. Here are some more examples. So when a client says to me, I'm the problem, okay, so I have an example where a client was having a disagreement with her husband and tell you, he was being pretty mean to her. And her thought was, I'm the problem. And then she felt terrible. And so what did she do when she felt terrible? It was she beat herself up. But she didn't focus on creating change or communicating with him or addressing the issue. No, she actually hid. She withdrew. Right? So remember, thoughts determine how we feel, and our feelings drive all of our actions. And I just want to be really clear that I'm not, I'm not blaming or shaming anyone. I just want to highlight, these thoughts, they're a choice. You don't have to think them. You don't have to believe that you are the problem. You don't have to believe that there is something wrong with you. You don't have to keep telling that story. And here's the thing, even if a thought is true, if you want to keep it, fine. Yeah, if you want to argue with it and say it's true, fine. But if it's hurting you, I think we can both agree that you could throw that out now. Okay? You can decide what you're going to think on purpose and how you will feel. Right? We have the ability as humans to do that. It is so much of the work we do in coaching. It's the work that literally changed my life. Okay? But we don't have to, We don't have to keep believing the shitty stories we're telling ourselves and the horrible things that we say to ourselves when we're beating ourselves up. We don't have to keep believing that. In actual fact, we want to start questioning it. We want to start, putting up a stop sign on the door of our brain and saying, no more, right? We've got to feel better in order to do better, right? Here's the reality. The math is not mathing. The math ain't mathing when you hate on yourself, hoping that it's going to make you do better so that ultimately down the track you'll feel better. No, the human brain just does not work that way. Okay? We feel better, then we do better. So, my friend, here's the reality. You have ADHD. I have ADHD. Okay? So what does this mean? It means we are forgetful. It means We lose track of time. We are impulsive. We have really big, intense, sometimes explosive emotions. We have trouble starting and finishing tasks. We struggle to resist the immediate pleasure over a long-term reward. Okay? Those are just the facts of having ADHD. We're also human. Okay? So here are some facts about being human. All humans make mistakes. All of them. All humans say mean things sometimes. All humans get angry and annoyed and sad and upset. All humans are wired to protect themselves. All humans have a negativity bias built into their brain, meaning that they look for the bad or the danger first. All humans experience pain. All humans experience pain and suffering, my friends. And all humans are imperfect. Okay? Not a single one is perfect. So what if, all right, indulge me for a moment, what if you accepted yourself with your ADHD and with all of your humanness? What if you just accepted your current reality and you accepted all of the flaws that you have? Now, I get a lot of pushback on this. Yes, I do. I'll often hear things from clients like, I can't accept that I'm always late for work because if I do, I'm going to get fired. Or I can't accept that I yell at my kids and at my partner and I struggle to control my emotions because if I do, then I'm going to stop trying to be a better parent. I hear things like, I can't accept that I'm always getting less done than I say I'm going to do because otherwise I'm just going to give up and I'm just going to quit trying. My friends, this bullshit lie needs to stop here. Again, I ask you the questions. How is beating yourself up working out? Are you actually improving on these things? Or are you just feeling terrible about yourself over and over and over again? Okay? Acceptance is not indifference. So acceptance is not saying, oh, well, too bad. Okay? So another common kind of pushback I'll get from people is if I accept myself as I am, then it means that I don't care about how my ADHD impacts other people, right? How my ADHD impacts my boss, my colleagues at work, my family, my friends. Like if I just accept that this is how I am, then I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm effectively saying I don't care about them. No, it's not true, my friends. Let me give you an example. Unless I've written down my friend's birthday on my calendar, and I think I've only got one written on there, I just glanced at it. Like, unless Facebook reminds me of a birthday, the reality for me is that I usually do not remember my friends' birthdays until after the fact. Okay? That's when I wish them a happy birthday. And I've stopped beating myself up for this. I accept that I just don't remember these things because it's just not how my brain works. Okay? That's okay for me. Now, I always apologize if one of my friends is really upset by that. I take responsibility. But I no longer tell myself, oh, I should remember, or I should have a better system, or I'm a shitty friend because I always forget. No, I just accept that this is part of who I am. I forget important things. That's okay. My friends, in order to feel better so that we can do better and create positive changes in our life, we've got to accept our ADHD, flaws and all. We've got to accept our own humanness, right? And being human comes with many flaws too. We've got to quit arguing with reality. And what that means is we've got to stop telling ourselves, hey, we should be different than we are. No. We've got to lower that ridiculously high bar that we've set for ourselves and start speaking to ourselves the way we want to be spoken to, the way we speak to the people that we love and care about, right? If you come back to that bicycle, the learning to ride a bike without training wheels example, you want to speak to yourself like scenario number 1. And you want to celebrate every single win. Focus on what you have done and how far you have come, not what you haven't done and how far you've got to go. Celebrate every win. Acknowledge yourself. And I want you to imagine your self-talk is like a nightclub, and you are the bouncer. You get to decide what gets in and what doesn't. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is one of my favorite quotes from Louise Hay, and she's the author of a book called You Can Heal Your Life, which I highly recommend. And she says this: "You have been criticizing yourself for years, and it hasn't worked. Try accepting yourself and see what happens." My friends, I'm sending you so much love today. I'll be thinking of you all as I celebrate my birthday and sending you the biggest hug. All right, take care. I'll speak to you next week. If you are loving what you're learning here on the podcast, but you still feel like your ADHD is holding you back, I can help. Using evidence-based coaching tools and my own experiences, I'll help you to manage your emotions and feel better, to increase your productivity, grow your self-confidence, and create the life that you were meant for. Visit zenajones.com/thrive and schedule an ADHD support session to get started.